Are we recording on video as well as live stream?
No, I just started.
Oh, awesome, cool. I love how on top of things you always are, Kamran. But like this appreciation could be as simple as being like, hey Lee, I haven't heard from you in a while. How are you doing? I was glad to see you at the leadership table. And that's it. She said, thank you for remembering me. How are you, brother? I have a cold, but I'm doing okay. And then I went to sleep, woke up, and I was like, oh, I see. I will be praying for you, sister. I'm sorry to hear that. And she's like, thank you, brother. That means a lot to me. Just something as simple as that. It wasn't a very long conversation. Didn't take a lot of effort. It was just as I was going to sleep, being like, hey, I'm thinking about you. I haven't seen you for a while. I heard from you. How are you? That is a gesture that people don't really get very often by anyone. And Kathy does that often with people. And
I did it with Lee and not knowing you had.
Oh, that's cool.
Cute.
Kathy's doing the same thing.
I sent it at 7:01 this morning.
Oh, cool. Me too. Mine was 8 o'clock. So it's really simple to be like, I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm thinking of you. I'm praying for you. And how can I pray for you more? So you could be taking a prayer request or just letting people know that you're praying for them. So there is a quote in, I could probably just pull it up. And also, it is in Ministry of Healing. Actually, oh, here it is. This is really encouraging. I'm going to send this. Oh, I can't send it on Discord or Messenger because we don't have internet right now. Alright, well, I could just read this to you guys. You guys can write it down.
You have internet now.
Yeah, you do, but I don't. It says, we are too indifferent in regards to one another. Too often we forget. What do?
Forget.
We forget that our fellow laborers are in need of strength and cheer. Take care to assure them of your interest and sympathy. Your interest in what? Sympathy. Help them by your prayers, and here's the secret. Let them know that you do it. Letting other people know that you're praying for them is so profound, and it's a simple gesture that melts the hearts of the people and draws them closer to you. This is something that is just so simple. It can literally be just an out-of-the-blue message. You don't need a long conversation. It doesn't have to take longer than 5 minutes. If it's taking you 5 minutes to send a message like this, you're doing it wrong. You could literally just say, hey, I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I'm glad you're my friends. Period. Send. And then you go throughout your day. And as you do that during the day, you don't have to stop with 3. You can do 5 a day if you want. But that makes that's really just seconds. You can even speak it into your phone. You can send an audio message. It's 10 seconds and then it's there. And people really appreciate that stuff. So that's what the 3-day is. And one thing that can help you to have a system where you're doing that more consistently, I'll let you take a look at this. If you can open up your account book to the daily page, and this is especially for like Sister Kathy, Mom, and Kamran. What do you see on your daily page of your account book that you think that you can associate this with to be a system to keep track of this? And keep in mind that the secret to really accomplishing anything new or any desire that you have is attach that desire with something that you're already doing, like our account book. So what in the daily pages you think will help you to reach out, to be able to remember, let people know you're praying for them?
One of the questions there is somebody that you can reach out to today.
What question is it?
And It's, I could, number 5, someone I could pray for today and surprise with a note, a gift,
Do you know
or a
what
sign of
daily page is?
appreciation.
I don't think I have it. So I need to go get one.
The number 5. Do you see that, Kamran?
Yeah.
How many people do you put down for number 5?
What's a someone?
I got 9 there today.
You got 9. Praise the Lord. Yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 people there too.
Hey, Hermano.
Hermano,
I appreciate you. I'm glad you're my friend.
I appreciate you too, brother.
There's one down.
But just know that that's not gonna help you grow your squad.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you too, brother. But when you look at that, these are people that you could reach out to and just be like, hey, I appreciate you. Like I got Mark Fox on there. So I could send him a message and be like, Mark Fox, I appreciate your ministry. Your YouTube videos are an encouragement to me. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I'm praying for you. And he always says, your prayers are worth more than $1 million donation to me and the ministry. Thank you for your prayers. And so I'm like, hey, he appreciates that. He messages me often asking for prayers. So this is yeah, we want to look at this. If you're writing them down, what's really nice about this is when you write their name down, you can literally just say like, I am praying for you, and it's super short. I think we're out of them. It would have been the very last one.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Comment, we're out of daily pages.
Okay.
But oh, you got one. There you go. That's all you need. That has front and back.
Okay, good.
So, with those people, where's another place on this sheet that could help us to let people know that we appreciate? What's another synonym or another word for appreciate?
Be grateful for.
Be grateful for.
So the gratitude list.
Yeah, look at your gratitude list. Every day you're writing down things you're grateful for, your thank yous, and who is on there. Like I'm thankful for Musa's arrival. Like, I'm really glad you're here, brother. And I said that several times yesterday. And yeah, like I'll give you an example. One time, actually recently, sometimes when I write things on there that I think could like fit with people. Here it is. So I got one day and it says like, I'm grateful to God for the Army of Youth team, Susie's dedication to Christ. I'm thankful for morning routines and for the subscribers in our program. I'm thankful for Candace's Mexican food and her cheerfulness. I'm thankful for our church family. So I wrote that there. And you don't have to say a text every time. You can literally pull up your phone on Messenger or WhatsApp or Discord or however you want to do it. And I just took a picture of that section of my daily page and I sent it to Susie and I sent it to Candace. And Susie's response when she saw that I like handwritten her a thank you note essentially was she was like, wow, I'm so thankful to have something to do for the Lord's service. I'm grateful for the family that God has given me in the Army of Youth. She's really encouraged. And then Candace I sent it to. She read it like 24 hours later and she's like, I just read your note. Praise the Lord. It's like, I'm really grateful to be able to share, and she was really happy with that gesture too. So it could be something as simple as that. You can be creative with it. It doesn't just have to be a text, and it should not take us a half an hour to do this. Is this making more sense?
Yes.
Praise the Lord. Yeah. Just make it associate as part of the system that these are people we want to be intentional about. We don't want to wait till people's funerals to speak all the things that we appreciated about them. We should let them know before that event happens. God forbid, a lot of people wait until the memorials with much regret. It's like, I wish I let the person know that I love them.
So DMO means daily
Method.
of operation.
You got it. Yeah. And it's a 3x3x3. This is our DMO. And it's just simple. And really what I find is that this is a tool to kind of get you started in the game, just so that you know, even if you're having really rough days, just remember if I do 3x3x3, then that's it. But as you get started, you do it, and then you do 3 by 3 by 3, and it becomes a habit. It becomes who you are. It becomes like just second nature. And then you might find that you want to do 5 a day, 5 by 5 by 5. And then you start reaching out to people and you learn new individuals. You're growing in your skills. That's how I learned how to talk to more people. And it just becomes of who you are. Now I realize that every time I start a conversation with people, I always start with something I appreciate about them. A sincere, honest compliment that I really am grateful to God for them in my life, or something that they've done, or some Christ-like character that they have. And I realize I do this for way more than 3 or 10 people. But this is how you build the habit with this daily method of operation. Is there a question before we move on?
9.
9. Okay, good.
I have a question.
Yes.
I was wondering, what was that third 3?
Third 3?
The internet went out. Third one?
The third one is appreciation.
Oh, okay.
Are you able to see the whiteboard?
Oh wait, I gotta pull that up again.
No, that.
Okay, it's coming up soon.
There you go.
Thank you.
Welcome. Now, another way too, or actually, what do you see as some of the challenges that you face when talking to new people? What is it that makes you hesitant? I know it made me hesitant at first in meeting new friends, meeting new people, or sending out friend requests.
Who are you talking to?
Everyone.
What I see for me is that sometimes when you meet people, you run across somebody who likes to talk, and I just don't know what to do with somebody who talks a lot.
Are you talking about through text?
What?
Are you talking about through Messenger?
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick tip. You want to know what to do when you find someone who talks a lot on Messenger?
Leave them hanging.
Just stop responding.
That feels rude to me.
It's not rude, because it's like sending a letter through the mail. You're able to respond whenever it's convenient for you.
Looks like that we're in a conversation on the phone, and they ask me a question, I'm just down in there.
That's
without answering them.
So that's a thing where that's only like your mindset. That's not how everyone else looks at Messenger, because
that's my story.
Yeah, that's a story you're telling yourself. Because Messenger is not actually a phone call. There's nothing like that. It's more like an email. Would you feel like think about all the emails that come into your inbox. Do you feel like you are obligated to respond to those emails as soon as they're sent to you?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I ignore them.
That's what Messenger is. The way that we need to treat our inbox, if we're going to be effective communicators, is we manage our inbox. Our inbox doesn't manage us. And that looks like having like 1 or 2 set times to respond to people, but not constantly all throughout the day at all times responding to individuals on what they're saying. When you set a time and you block that time in advance, like at this time I'm going to respond to messages, and you set that time, like I'm going to respond to messages for like 20 minutes. I'm going to do my 3 by 3. I'm going to get all these done in the morning. And then as people are messaging you all throughout the day, there's no obligation at all for you to stop what you're doing and check your phone. When you hear a ding, there's no reason to just like drop everything and go look at that. They could wait to your appointed time to respond to your messages. Otherwise, we could be filling up our entire day with responding to people, starting conversations, and not getting anything done. But that's one of the most important things. 1 Corinthians 9:25, right? If we want to master our communication, we want to master the skill of evangelism, any man that striveth for the mastery is what in all things?
Temperate in all things.
Temperate in all things. temperate in all things includes our inbox. And true temperance teaches to avoid entirely things that are harmful, drop the conversations that are not good, and to use moderately the good conversations, that which is good. So in moderation, we have to have regular times for working, regular times for communicating, regular times for sleeping and eating. This regularity, this system, is what allows us to operate at a really high level. And when we get that in place and we really like respect the boundaries that we place for our schedule and our life, then we're able to use social media and social media doesn't use us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. Mom, are you still there? No? Is our internet on?
Mm-hmm.
Mom, you went silent. Tina, are you planning on participating while you're here, or are you just listening?
I'm listening right now.
Okay,
Are
so
you echoing?
so you do not want me to ask you questions?
I can come down there.
You can? Okay, that would be helpful. Carmen, what is your challenge with when you think of meeting 3 new people, what comes to your mind?
Having to start the conversation.
How to start the conversation? What do you mean by that?
No, just having to start the
Oh.
conversation.
Having to start it. What do you mean by having to start the conversation?
Well, what do you say?
What do you think would be a good thing to say?
Aside from, hey, hi.
Remember in 1 Corinthians 9? Again, it goes to 1 Corinthians 9. How did Paul start his evangelistic conversations? Let's go to actually it looks like, oh no, it is. Yeah, 9:20. First Corinthians 9:20, and it's 20 through 22, but we don't have to read all those. But would you like to read that for us, Carmen?
Just 20.
Yeah, just 20.
And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. So just common ground.
Yeah, common ground. The only thing that I'm trying to do when I first meet someone is I'm asking the question, what do we have in common? How can I find something in common? What's something I can connect with? And so my questions are literally just looking for things that we have in common, and that's it. So it might be a common person, it might be a common event that we're at, or it might even be the squad that might be in common, or it might be like a mutual friend we have in common. Some people that I like send a friend request just out of the blue, I see we have like 60 mutual friends. I'm like, okay, out of those 60, who am I the closest with? And I'm like, hey, how well do you know brother, like, let's say Ezekiel? And like, oh, I met Ezekiel one time at some event, and I don't know him very well. I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's a good friend of mine. Saw that you were friends too. And but sometimes they're like, Ezekiel, yeah, we were co-partner program. We were over there for months. I love Ezekiel. He is a dear friend. He's like, really, he's a dear friend for you? He's a dear friend to me too. You're like really close. So then instantly you have that mutual friend method. You have that connection for that common ground, because any friend of Ezekiel is a friend of mine. And if they got along, I know I could get along with that individual. Kind of, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just looking for common ground. So, when you say, oh, and then,
Well, hey, I think that's really helpful because for some reason that just,
praise the Lord.
yeah.
That's really good. I have a system where when I meet new people, and I've been doing that this year, and it's been working really well. I was trained when doing Bible work. When we knock on the door, when we're cold calling, because what we're talking about, this new people, is a process from the temperature gauge from bringing cold contacts to warm contacts, or hot. And so these are strangers, and these are like close friends. And when dealing with cold contacts, a way to warm them up, to show that you're conscientious, that you care about them, that you have sympathy, that we just read about, is to show that you're praying for them, right? And let them know that you're praying. Mm-hmm. So when we do Bible work, we knock on people's door and be like, hey, we are in the community and we're taking prayer requests. And we're with this church over here. We want to know if you have any prayer requests we could pray for you or the community. And people are just like, their hearts are melted. They're like, whoa, you're here? Like, not to like push some sort of agenda, not to like what, you're not asking me money, you're not trying to sell me something, you're just taking prayer requests? So it's like, well, yeah, then can you pray for my family? Can you pray for my daughter? Can you pray for the community? Pray for the election? Pray for whatever. And then you start to realize what's important to them. And whatever the challenge is, you can give words of encouragement. You can listen, relate, tell stories. Listen, relate, tell stories. Listening is questions. Like, what prayer requests? Then what I like to do is I like to pray, send an audio message at that moment. If I can, sometimes I don't have the time, but as much as I can, pray for them at that time. Or say, I will be praying for them. And in my account book, I'll write them down for the day. Be like, I want to pray for them on that request. And then when I follow up with them, I'm like, hey, I was praying for you about blank. How is it going? So it gives you a reason to follow up with a stranger. And you already build rapport with them a lot faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Common ground and prayer requests. Those work so well. What about you, Sister Tina? When you think of adding new people, what comes to your mind?
You already
Wow.
talked about it.
What are you saying wow to?
I'm really grateful
You're grateful?
for that refresher.
Oh, praise the Lord.
It makes everything so much easier now.
It's so simple when you're following a system.
Yeah.
It only takes a really long time, and it's frustrating, it's confusing, and you got that decision fatigue when it's not an automated process. Common ground and prayer requests. Listen, relate, tell stories. That's good. I'm glad it's easier for you, brother. Because then you could just send the 3 people and you could even, like, when you first meet them, you can find something to appreciate about them by scrolling through their feed, and you could just see something, you're like, hey, I see that you're on fire for Christ. I really appreciate meeting young people that love Jesus as much as I do. That is so encouraging. I see all your encouraging stuff you're posting on social media. I want to encourage you to keep up the good work. I can see that people are engaging, it's being a blessing. You don't have to say all of that, but just one of those sentences is like a sincere, honest compliment as you meet new people. It warms them up very quickly. Tina, when you think of meeting people, new people, what comes to your mind? There's no wrong answers. We're just... And so far, everything that people have said are things that I felt before, except for what Mom said about having to respond to them immediately. I never felt that because I grew up
I've always felt like that.
I grew up on messengers, and I know that that's not how they work.
Yeah, I guess my biggest thing, y'all kind of touched on it already, but it's like, once you met a certain amount of new people, there's so many people to reach out to, so many people to like talk to, and I just feel like, yeah, it kind of annoying.
3 a day. To 5 a day.
That's the thing that was the biggest stressor to me. Out of all the different like possibilities, I associated, okay, if I reach out to more people, that means I've got like 3, 6, 9, 12. I've got like all these people I gotta reach out to. I'm like, how am I going to deal with all these people? This is intense. Until I learned this concept, which was super helpful. It's basically the friendship funnel. It's kind of like what we talked about. But I learned this from Dave MacArthur, and I need a different pen. And this is so cool. When you first meet someone, basically what's beautiful about this 3 new people is you want to put the new people at the top of your funnel, and you're just getting to know them. And the secret is, and this is where people get things wrong, is they try in their first interaction, their first conversation with them, to like sign the person up, bring them to a small group, or encourage them to take an offer, or whatever it is that you're like offering them. People get too pushy, or they're like, hey, let's do Bible studies in the first interaction, and like at the door it doesn't really work very well, or it's harder. And then when you're dealing with people in first conversation, if you ask too much, it's more difficult. Your only goal right here is people are cold, and you got to warm them up. The further that they go down, up here is cold, and up here is warm. The further down they get, the warmer they go. So what helps people to go from cold to who are strangers, don't know you, to know, like, and trust you?
Oh, you know what's helped me with that?
What?
Stories.
Stories, definitely. Stories warm people up, for sure. But why? What about stories helps them to know, like, and trust you more?
Then they really get to know you. Well, especially if you show your face or you speak.
Oh, you're talking about social media stories.
Yeah, social
Oh,
media
okay,
stories.
yes. And I was going to touch on that, for sure. That's so true, brother.
Yeah, and definitely
Commonality.
Commonality.
Common knowledge, commonality, common ground. Yes, it's that 1 Corinthians 9:20. This right here is common ground. You're just trying to find, how can I relate? And that's what you're doing. So what's really powerful is 3 new people come in, and this is what I learned, is look at every person that you talk to, like these conversations. So words is a seed, right? The sower went forth to sow. So every conversation you have is a seed. And a farmer knows you don't sow a seed today and reap the harvest in the evening. It takes about 3 months from the time that you plant the seed to the time that you harvest. And you can notice pretty consistently, it's about 3 months from the time that you meet someone until as they develop, they're seeing your stories, you're having conversations here and there, and then about 3 months later, they know, like, and trust you so much more, and they're willing to do like a lot more things, whether that's come to your group, whether that's come to an event physically, like probably Musa, how long did we know each other before you like bought a ticket to come fly out here?
I'll say a few years. I can't remember when exactly we met, but I know it's been a few years.
How did we meet?
It was on Instagram, I think, because I think somehow we connected. Like, you followed me, and then I followed you back, and then we started, interacting and stuff.
I think how we met was through Brother Carlos. He has the youth militant.
Yeah.
Santubas?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so I think Carlos added me to that group, and we started talking on there, and then we followed each other.
Oh, yeah.
But
Was that a year ago?
No, I joined that group after we moved here. We moved here about a year ago, or less than a year ago.
A little
Okay.
less than a year ago.
So it was really it was maybe like 4 to 5 months before you bought the ticket. So that was we've known each other longer. But from the time you bought the ticket, maybe about 4 or 5 months. But I think the first 1 or 2 months, we talked in the group, but you and I didn't really talk as much until around 3-4 months before you bought your ticket. And as we started to talk more and interact more, then it's hey, you're graduating, and you're I'm looking for work in ministry. I want to go do something for the Lord. You're involved with the small groups, and Mom's hey, why don't you consider come visiting us before you find a place? And you're hey, in that transition, you're hey, that'd be good. I want to come, and you're here. That's a blessing. But what's cool about that is it's a system, and it's a science, and it works, and it's personal. It's interactions, they're friends that you're developing, and you can know that when you plant the seed to the time that you harvest or see more significant fruit from your relationship and stuff, it's going to be about 3 months later. so what's really encouraging about that is that all these 3 new people, it's not that you're harvesting them immediately right then and there. Have you ever found the time, it's like the times when like Brother Musa shows up on the plane and everyone's excited, it's like, Musa's here, we're so happy. And or when like Susie's like coming up and she's like becoming a small group leader and she's like giving Bible studies, you're like, wow, she's stepping out of her comfort zone, she's like leading people to Jesus. And it's like the fruit that we get really encouraged by. But why is the fruit so sparse and like few and far between and sporadic? The reason why the fruit is sporadic is because we only sow what we reap, and we're not constantly sowing new seeds every day. So like 3 months after we sow, then we reap. But what I learned from Dave, one of my previous mentors, was that when you start sowing the seeds, 3 new people every day, then your harvest becomes very consistent, because the people are just like going through like 3 months later, and the harvest of the fruit just keeps coming and coming, and souls are being won to Jesus, they're making decisions for Christ, they're growing in their spiritual walk, and all these different things. But what's really cool is people are at different stages along this development, and what I learned, like what Carmen was saying about stories, is when we are consistent in posting stories, even if we just record our foot and we just say like, I praise the Lord because because we're gonna go sledding today, and they don't have to see your face if you don't want your face. Or if you record a whiteboard, you can record like someone else and just have a conversation with them if you don't want to be on screen. You can record a flower and just tell a testimony in 15 seconds.
Tell it to the world.
Yeah, go tell it to the world. But the best way is if they see your face. Posting on social stories, consistently prioritizing that, it allows you to do follow-up at scale. This is 1-to-1, but we're talking about one to many. This right here is a 1-to-many approach, and people know, like, and trust you without even like taking up active time that you have in interacting with them, because we're really limited on that. But just by posting on our stories with our voice and our face, or if not our face and our voice and some random object, then you're turning cold contacts to warm contacts. Is that making sense? That's one way to lighten the load. But another thing is to realize, like, and then it hit me with this process, is that you're only adding 3 people a day, but you're following up with 3, and you're appreciating 3. So it's really 6 people. 6 of those new people you're actually following up with, or you are appreciating. So you're keeping track with all of them. And this isn't just like 3 new people every day you need to have a conversation with them. You can have an interaction 1 week and not talk to them for another week, or not talk to them for another 2 weeks or something. They could be, just by adding them, now they see your stories. And because you're new and fresh in their mind, they're going to be watching your story just to get to know who their new friend is. And as long as you're consistent here, then you're still, they're getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Speaking of warmer, maybe it's a little too warm in here. I'm falling asleep.
Hey, that reminds me of the book that To Swim With, I think it's To Swim With the Shark.
How to swim with the sharks without getting eaten alive?
Huh?
How to swim with the sharks without getting eaten alive?
Yeah, by Harvey McKay.
Yeah.
He's the one whose father told him to stay friendly with the people.
Yeah.
To dig in all deep. Right?
Yeah.
Is it really? Yeah? Doesn't sound like it.
No, it is. The reason why I was hesitant is because you're throwing out like little phrases that people who don't know what you're talking about won't understand. But I understand.
Well, and jog your memory so you could talk to them about it.
Oh. Well, God brought it to your remembrance. Why don't you share?
There was a guy, he's a public speaker, and his father taught him while he was young to stay in contact with everybody, and because you never know when either you can help somebody or somebody could help you, and by staying in contact, it keeps them fresh in your mind and it keeps you connected. so that someday if you come into an emergency, you just don't call somebody you haven't talked to in 2 years and say, hey, can you help me now? You haven't even talked to them lately.
So true. Thank you, Mom. That's powerful. Yeah, and the concept you called it digging your well before you're thirsty. I haven't read the book, but it's a powerful concept. And if you look at your relationships, a lot of relationships are like a bank account. As you add value to their life, as you seek to help, you serve, you solve problems, and you find creative ways to add value to their life, it's like you're making deposits. You're making deposits into their life. And then when there is a crisis or when there is a need or you're working on a project that you can't move forward, then you've been depositing in people's life. You've been adding so much value and helping them to grow and encouraging them that when you're like, hey, would you be able to help? They're like more than welcome. They're people, like you could be adding so much value to people's lives that with the law of imparting, given it shall be given unto you. People will find creative ways. People will be anxious because they want to support. They want to help you. They want to find some way that they can help you to advance in whatever God is calling you to do. And that's how, as missionaries, we want to constantly be like out giving and asking, how can I give more to others than I ask for? How can I just freely give as much as I can? Because you can't outgive God. And the more that but we can try, and the more that we do try, people will they'll find creative ways to return. But imagine, have you ever had a friend that it just seems like every time they talk to you, they just were asking for things, or they've just like, it's like they're always like withdrawing, they're always taking, and when you talk to them, it just seems like you're not really like energized or encouraged, you're more kind of like drained because they're just sucking up so much like time, resource, and strength, and whatever. We've had these different friends, and we don't want to be that friend. We want to see what are the ways that we can find creative ways to add value to more people. Tina, did that make sense? How even though you're talking to 3 new people, it doesn't mean you're talking to them every day, and it's not a compounding effect. You could literally just talk to these 9 people a day, and you're still reaching, like by the end of, what's 9 times 7? 60.
27.
27?
What?
Yeah.
No.
9 times 7. No,
It'd be
my bad.
63?
63.
63, okay.
Yeah.
Think about it. At the end of a week, if you just reached to 3 people, 3 by 3 by 3, in 7 days, you've reached 63 precious souls. And then how many people did you talk to last week?
Yeah.
That works.
Oh, there were 63 people that saw my story.
Oh yeah. I know, I
I
had
actually
63.
think there was like 63 people.
Nice. See, when you post, people pay attention. And the secret is friendship requires frequency. The more consistent you are in posting, the more people will prioritize their attention in seeing what you're doing. People care about you. People love you. They want to see you succeed. They want to go gravitate to people and sources online that are giving them encouragement, that are leading their eyes to heaven. And as you are posting things, they will connect with you. And the people like those who are like themselves. And the more that they know you, the more time they want to spend with you. So that one-to-many approach is really powerful, whether that's microblogs on Instagram posts or Facebook, or whether it's a YouTube video, or whether it's a story post, or whatever creative way we can. And then as you go down here, this is more of like the one-on-one like as you go deeper down, and these might be like a phone call where like you can't have a phone call with 100 people a week because there's only 58 hours in a week. But like up here, you might have like your drip system, or which is kind of like your small group. And your small group, it's a beautiful way. Just think about who are all the people you want to keep in contact with, who are all the people you want to encourage, you want to strengthen, you want to see them grow in their Christian walk, and just be like, okay, if I can funnel all the people that I know, love, and like care for into a small group where they're taken care of, and a small group that I'm leading preferably, then it'd allow me to have another one-to-many approach. It's like a one-to-group. Now, the question might be like, well, but that's not the same as a phone call. That's not the same as a one-on-one. And it's not. It's better in many ways, because if the only option is a phone call, then how many people are you not calling this week? And it's either like a small group or no communication. Because anytime you say yes to one phone call, that means that there's 1,000 other things you're saying no to. And I'm not saying don't make phone calls. I'm just saying, like,
Prioritize your phone calls.
yeah, prioritize your phone calls, and you could see, you can funnel it, and you'll be able to get way more done that way. And with a small group, you could really stay in contact personally. They can hear your voice. They can interact with you live in a call so much more. I mean, you could reach more people than you otherwise would have never kept in contact with. And they can grow and thrive, and they could just, you connect them with a source where they could just find an abundance of life-transforming, developing resources. Is this making sense to people? A little bit more about meeting new people?
Yeah.
Okay. Praise the Lord. One thing that I would say is the follow-up are people that are like missing in the group, or people that have not attended the group yet but you've kind of like talked to. They're going to take a look at the link that you're inviting them to your group. And your follow-up, you're just saying like, hey, were you able to take a look at the video? Or just follow-up is doing what you say you're going to do. And that's really where the big impact goes. How many people here started an active contact list?
I've started it.
Started it? Well, that's good. Mom, did you start an active contact list? So how many people found it difficult to maintain the active contact list? Yeah, me too. That's hard. Kathy's like, I've been doing this for years. It's pretty simple for me. I'm on top of it. That's good. She taught me a lot about keeping contact with people. Now, the key is, these 3 new people you talk to, you want to add them to your contact list every day, so you can keep track with them. And
I have some updating to do.
yes, but remember again, the secret to doing any new thing consistently is attaching that new thing to something you're already doing. You want to make it a habit. You want to identify a trigger and see, what am I doing that would fit with this activity. And for me, I found it's been working extremely well. Is I added to my morning routine. So we got the written checklist. The evening routine. We got this written checklist is, while I'm doing my prayers, while I'm dreaming before I go to sleep, and I'm praying for these things, then it's all on Notion. So on Notion, I just go to my active contact list, and I literally just think like, who did I meet today? And I put their names down. Who did I meet today? And what little things do I know about them? And just jot it up. And I find that like in my mind,
So you write down
yeah, on Notion.
what you learned about them, and
I learn like what they're interested in. I add some tags. I show, like, I might like update, because I got squads. I have like identified where the people are on their squads, and I'm like, oh, these people switched. These people are inactive. And I might update a few things here and there, but I'm adding those. I wrote down 2 new people to add on my checklist, but sometimes I do more. And I just write down, it's like, what's their background? What are they interested in? Are they interested in prophecy? Are they interested in leadership development? Are they interested in like Bible study? Do they want to be a squad leader? Or just, I'm looking for ways that I can serve them. On top of like when I'm talking to people, I'm like, what do we have in common? I'm also trying to figure out, what problem do they have that I could solve? How can I serve them? What can I do to be a blessing in their life? And I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for a need that can be ministered to. It's like, what do we have to offer that can make a difference in this individual's life? And it could be anything, from medical missionary work, from prayer, from fellowship, from service, from the Direction of God program, How to Study Bible web class. It could be whatever the things are, or maybe it's like someone was talking to me. Like this would be follow up. Sister Jamie from New Zealand, she was I was following up with her. I was following up because Kamran had a situation I had to deal with, and I was trying to get a hold of someone's mother, and I talked to her, and basically, long story short, Jamie now wants to send her 2 daughters to be a part of the Army of Youth, because I just followed up with her. It's amazing what happens when you talk, and in that process, why did I bring that up? What were we just talking about? I lost my train of thought. Something about...
Following up.
Yeah, following up.
Jamie, Benji.
There's something
His
about
mom.
Jamie.
Active
You
contact
were
list.
writing things down, keeping notes about people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about Jamie. So I added her to my list. I added Mo to my list because I learned that she was reading some interesting books, and Jamie. I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was about that, but I do remember as I was talking to Jamie about something unrelated, I let her know we appreciate her. Oh, and she added someone new to the group, and she wants to send her 2 daughters. So you can see just by just helping to connect her, the more touch points people have with the different people. This is a secret of Bible work. If you want really effective Bible work, your goal is to connect your contact with as many Bible workers as you can. The more Bible workers that they feel connected with, the more they will stay in that community. Same thing with church. If you bring a visitor to church, if that visitor does not meet 2 or 3 new people, this is statistics show, 2 or 3 new people that they feel are friends, other than just the person who invited them, they will not stay. But if you could just help them to make 2 new friends, and now they got 3 friends in the church, they will come back. They'll come back consistently. But if it's just the person inviting them who shows up and only talks to them, they're going to leave. I guarantee you the retention will not be there. So you have to think, who are the people on your squad? Philippians 2:4. Look not after the things of your own. Don't look at the people you're meeting, but look at the things of others. Who are they meeting and seeing in your squad? How can I connect my people with each other? Who's befriending who?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's beautiful about that, Tina?
What?
When you leverage the communicators, the corporals, your assistant, and you teach them this, they're following up with people that you never could because you just don't have the capacity. So when you train others, like right now, like what I'm doing, I'm training you guys and whoever watches the video, how to do this. And it's like, through my influence, anyone that you guys follow up with, I mean, that's going to be a ripple effect. And like Manor is, you teach your squad corporals who have leadership potential, who maybe haven't filled out the volunteer form yet, but they have potential, then they're reaching people, they're following up with people and supporting. So you just want to teach more people that. And it really simplifies things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think what we should do is take a 5-minute break and then discuss what we need to do for splitting.
Yeah.
We can fill the water bottle, stop the recording, walk around.
Okay.